Okay, we're going to do a brief demonstration of Notebook LM. So first, let's go to Notebook LM. Actually, my version of Notebook LM is Plus. Note that you need a Gmail account in order to access Notebook LM. So let's click on Try Notebook LM, and we'll go here and then we'll create new, and we're taken to the interface. So notice here on the interface that is separated into three parts. The source part, we'll have all our source material. There's a chat part for interacting with the material. And there is the studio part, which will create a podcast and give us an audio interaction with the material. So let's click on Add some sources. In Notebook LM, you can import sources in three different ways. You can use Google Drive, you can be Docs or Slides, you can use a link from a website or YouTube, or you can even paste information in. So in this case, I have a folder already set, so I'm going to just upload some documents that I have ready. And then here we go. So Notebook LM is processing the documents, and you'll notice in three parts here. So first, the sources all show up here on the left side. Here, Notebook LM has given the this notebook a title based on the documents. So this is sepsis awareness training for clinical staff. And over here on the right, we'll see that it's ready to generate a podcast. So we'll click generate while we go over the other parts. Here on add a source, let's say there's a source that we forgot, we can always click add a source and go back and add it another time. We'll see here that in the chat portion that we have three other tools that we can use to interact with with Notebook LM. One, we can add a note. So let's say, for example, that we got some resource at a later date or a later time after this is already created. We can add that by adding a note. Let's say that you've had a conversation with a faculty member or someone else, a subject matter expert, and they gave you some information that is not necessarily readily available, and you want to put that in. You can put it in. You would name that note, and it's ready to go. You do not have to add your note to the source. If you do not add it to the source, it remains a note just for you. But if you want to convert it to the source, you just come down to the bottom and click Convert to Source. And now that note is part of your Notebook LM information that it will be drawing on as you interact with the information. So Notebook LM has given a brief synopsis of what this is about. CDC's Hospital Sepsis Program core elements outlines clinical components for hospitals to improve sepsis management and patient outcomes, etc. So that's a synopsis of what all of this is about. So let's say we're going to ask our first question. And I said, what are early signs of sepsis? And we sent that in, and then Notebook LM would give us a response. Early signs and symptoms of sepsis include fever, feeling cold, etc. It'll let us also know what document it came from. It has our references right at the end. This came from document 1, document 2, document 3, and so on. So this note, our note is not included as a reference material. And how do I know that? Because when you put your cursor over the reference number, it shows where it came from. All right. So next, other things to note. Here on the right side, you can add a note here as well. They are the same thing, essentially. You can create a study guide from the information. Notebook LM will assemble a study guide based on the content that's there, which makes it great for students studying. So in a second, it will generate. There we go. When we click on it, then we can see here's our study guide. It'll have key concepts, and it'll give a short answer quiz, and there's the answer key, and so on. Very, very useful. I'm going to uncheck our note because we know it's gibberish and it's not needed. And I'm going to delete that note from here so it's not part of our core resource information. All right, next we can create a briefing document, which basically will just summarize everything that we have here. It'll be a brief, something that we can read over just to go over the overall summary of the information that we've imported. So briefing document, sepsis awareness and management, the executive summary, key terms and ideals, and etc. Again, also very, very helpful. This document can also become part of your sources. So if you wanted to, you can convert it to a source and it will add to your sources that Notebook LM can actually draw from. All right, so next we have our FAQs, and FAQs are exactly that. We would click there and it will make a list, probably 8 or 9 questions that are most frequently asked about sepsis. And we go here, and then we go frequently asked questions about sepsis. What is it and how is it defined, etc. Okay, and next we have a reference timeline. So if we click on timeline, it will look at all our documentation and it will create references from the earliest to the latest timeline. So the first reference material is from 1992, and then we go to 96, and so on and so forth, with the latest being, I believe, 23, 22. And then it'll mention all our cast of characters. It'll mention everyone who has contributed to those that documentation. Okay, and let's go ahead and take a listen to the podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we are going to do a deep dive into something that's, well, it's super important, but a lot of people don't quite get it. Sepsis. You sent over a bunch of interesting stuff for this. CDC guidelines for hospitals, medical journal article, even some training materials for healthcare workers. So, like, our mission today is to give you a clear idea of, like what sepsis is, why you should actually care about it, and some really eye-opening facts that, well, it might just change how you think about it.
Yeah, it's definitely a condition that deserves a lot more attention than it usually gets, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
So it sounds like a genuine podcast. So let's say I wanted to go and I want to ask a question to the podcast hosts. I would go here. Well, it would be playing, and I would raise my hand. I would click
Hey
here,
everyone,
join.
welcome back. Hey there. Want to share your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I just have a quick question. I was wondering, what are some of the earliest signs for sepsis?
That's a great question.
Yeah, it's so important to catch it early.
Well, the training materials actually mentioned a tool.
Oh, you mean the stop and watch guide?
Yeah, that's it. It highlights changes that might indicate a problem.
Things like a change in skin color.
Or maybe they're just more tired than usual.
It's all about noticing those subtle shifts.
Before things get too serious.
Those changes can be easy to miss, right?
Absolutely, but really important to notice.
Okay.
Okay, so that's wonderful. All right, so lastly, we have analytics. So if this was sent out to students or any other party that you wanted access to the information, we can see how much they engage with it. This would give us analytics as time went on, and we can share this information. We could select whoever we want to share it with, and we can either give them access to the full notebook or we can just give them access to chat, which is super handy. So basically, we could actually create a training module and we can put it in Canvas with only the chat feature available so students can go there and interact with it or whoever else you may be working with. Okay, so that's great. I hope you found this helpful and let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.